raking up bean hay. Some places are pretty good material-wise, and some places it's not good. Making a decent windrow there. Bombs in the back. Finishing baling there, and then he'll be over here. Up here, the windrows are slight. You can't hardly tell where to go. One there, one there. A little rough. Now it's real rough. Decent beans up here. Decent for the year. Decent hay making beans. Those are terrible. Prepare windrow. This quarter we've got about 26 acres in the back, and that's the bottom ground. It'll be substantially better than up here. And the rest of the quarter, we got about 10 acres left on this, and then the rest of the quarter will be done. So we'll move that back 26 acres. Don't know if we'll get it knocked out tonight. Like I said, the beans are a lot heavier, so the moisture may be too high on those. Probably try it before we go call it a day. I swapped most of the day on another 80 down south, and off the bale we had a real heavy dew or a very light shower this morning, and he did a little baling this morning. I guess it was right after lunch when he was still able to get it to roll. But he was having trouble grinding it, so he quit about 3:30, I guess, in the heat. I think tomorrow's supposed to be in the high 90s. Sunday is 100. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's all in the very, very high 90s or low hundreds. Beans just didn't make. Very tough year. Sometimes you gotta ask yourself. Thought I'd get by a bale, show you that bale that Massey baler makes. It's good. Had a little bit of trouble with net wrap this evening. We're getting corn or milo stalks, I guess, we no-till. So there's some old milo stalks in with it. Getting them caught between the, I can't remember what we call it. It's the wrap plate where the twine goes between the belts. And I just goofed up there. I'll holler back at you. Got off a windrow. Too much video on. Not enough working. That's it. I'll get to a bale here for long. It's not want to focus in on those. Dumping another one there. Bob just bought that baler. Really like it so far. It makes a really good bale. I think we've got it a hair tight. We loosened it up. It's a 4x6 baler. And when we started in a bean hay, He was baling 1,535-pound bales. Our 5 to 6 was only 1,680. So it was a little tight. Having trouble getting spears in the bales, and actually knocked the bearing out of the baler. So we assumed maybe that was a problem. He's lightened them up a little. We have not weighed one yet, but I think they're still over 13. Alright. Get back in a minute. Baling with that 3830 John Deere swather, 16 foot. Only raking with a 10-wheel rake, and generally they'll only reach 14. Looks like Mom dumped them again. I wish the windows were cleaner. I'll bring it back, but on that. Anyway, we ended up having to move the chutes on the windrower all the way to the left, and then swathing back and forth. The 10-wheel catches 16-foot fine. Catches it really easy, actually. If I can show you. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Not want to focus. Huh. Yeah. I guess it's tired. There it went. Creek bottom here. Coming up on, and that's what I was talking about on the other side of that creek bottom. We've got 20, I think it's 26 acres. Pretty good feed back there. So, we'll get back over there shortly. Lights aren't terrible on this one, but I'll put new Tiger lights in the Boxcar Magnum 7120. And it made night and day difference. You can actually see to run that one now. He couldn't see the windrows 50 foot in front of the tractor with the factory ones. Yeah, I better see what Bob needs. I'll yell back at you. He just wanted to visit. I don't know what time it is. That clock says. Focus on that. It says 2:47. I don't think that's right. Might be 1:47 in the morning. Had a little problem yesterday. I dropped a wheel hub off of a shelf and it hit my pinky on my right hand on the way down. Didn't crush my finger, just hit it. And you're not going to tell them here. Bandaged up and took 11 stitches. I took the end of it off. First stitches I've had in a lot of years. Pretty sore today. Of course, we can't have pain medicine anymore, which I don't know is terrible. Oh, I did it again. Guess I might put the camera down. Goofed up and missed a windrow. These are swapped. This waterway runs up through here at an angle. And kind of throws you off on your perception when you turn around of where the next windrow should have been. It just makes a hell of a mess for the baler. Yeah, he'll figure it out. Maybe. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. This one forced the windows. Looks like he's dumping again. net wrap is getting caught in that plate that sends it down to the bale once in a while and creating a heck of a mess. I think it's doing better now. We bent the shield down just a hair. Seems like it's working a little better. That's probably more than just going up and back with me. Looks like I got maybe another pass or two. Excuse me. And then see if that behind the trees will bail. Bring him back then. See if I can get him dumping here on the window of the car. I just called Bob and asked if he thought that back patch would bail. It's heavy, and I told you that, but he doesn't think it will. And I can't argue. We will probably check it though before we leave. I'll swap this. I'm not sure what I did here. More windrow there than it looks like, but still not much. For the prices of things, we've got to get everything we can get. A lot of people around here are not doing anything with their beans. I don't know if they have some hopes that they'll make, or they're just too lazy. I don't know. Talking to a neighbor the other day that his beans didn't make either, and he commented that the other people must be immune to the drought because nobody's that I know of have made. Lots of pods, a few beans in the very bottom pods, and then the rest of the pods just a dimple. They just don't have the moisture and don't have the time. So, I talked to the insurance on 300 acres, I think. So we got to go ahead. The rest of them we had to leave strips. If we decide to bail them, we'll have to see what the beans look like when we get there. We're not getting a lot of acres swapped today with a single 16-foot. Caught me and dumping again. Look on the video and see how long it took you to make that bale. It wasn't very long. Even these crappy windrows. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying now. Swather with 16 foot, or it's an older one, like I said, it's in the other videos, 3830, so it's a little bit rough ride, but it will handle the material even in the heavier beans. Capacity doesn't seem to be a problem at all, but the ground speed is restricted by the roughness. It doesn't have any air ride or anything, of course. Oh, stopped. Probably had trouble with that bale. Just cleaning up belts. Yeah, the camera's terrible. here it looks like the bale made, so maybe he's just cleaning out between the belts for preventative. Looks like this is our last pass. Clean up the back here on this far corner, and then check the ones across the creek. We bought that 3830 I was mentioning the other day in the video from a guy up by Bunker Hill. I think it's a diamond in a rough. Didn't have the best care. And the little stuff that aggravates us didn't seem to bother him. So, the seat was terribly ripped. The steering was really tight. Air conditioner didn't work. He was trying to tell me that he had a guy look at the air conditioner, but I don't know. When we got it, we've got a pretty good air conditioner guy. I can do it, but I'm not great. Well, anyway, the guy that we have is actually Bob's brother-in-law. He come out and looked at it, and he said it had a draw. When you turn the blower motor on, when you would turn the temperature cool on, the blower motor would pull down and then kick the rheostat. And he tore the cab apart twice. And next morning, we couldn't figure it out. Next morning I went down, run a wire straight through the compressor from the battery, and the clutch kicked on and off 3 or 4 times, and then everything worked perfect. So I'm not an electrician, that I can promise you. But that seemed to do the trick. It's working now, and it'll run you clear out of there. So got a new seat bottom in it. That's doable now. And what else? Oh, the steering. There was I don't know, most of you guys probably aren't familiar with them, but there's a gear off the steering column, and then a gear down at the bottom that runs another linkage to your drive motors, or your hydrostat. Steering, not hydrostat. And big old washout there. It just wouldn't move. I mean, you had to two-hand it to get it to turn. So I took the linkage off to isolate where the tightness was. The linkage moved freely. The steering wheel moved freely, the slop in it. So I assumed it was that center gear. And we found a grease zerk on it, which obviously he didn't know was there either. And we couldn't get it to take grease. Pulled that zerk, put a new one in. Still wouldn't take grease. So got some carburetor cleaner, some penetrating oil, and shot it in the zerk hole for about 10 minutes. And moved it back and forth and back and forth. And finally got it where it would take grease. And now you can steer it with one finger. I guess I'll ease back here. Pretty good ditch here, and there's a real good ditch in front of us. We've got a culvert at the house that it's an old used one, but we're going to put it in here to get the hay out of here. We always suffered through this, and it wasn't great. It hasn't been great for years, but it's a little deeper than it looks like. Get that tube in there, then we'll be able to get this hay out. These windows are a little thin right here on the hill, but down on the bottom they get pretty good. Well, I'm going to jump out and see if it's crispy. Bob's the haying expert. So these are pretty thin up here, so it'll be hard to tell, but sound crispy there, but it seems pretty light. Or riding it. It's been a good one. He's got a loader on it. loader for it. Took it off so it didn't bang around when we raked. Burns minimal fuel. Does a good job. Pretty good minute knife. I can't see it. I'll see what Bob says when he gets over here. Like I said, I'm not the hay expert. Well, Bob's still on the other side of the creek, but I think I'm going to rake the outside round. See what we got. Alright, just getting started. Camera won't focus again. Just makes it focus. Show you guys that. Here, try it. This is a fence row between us and the neighbors. And they've left their beans. Those are full season. Ours were double crop. Can't imagine them being any good at all. All the full season in this country have been swell. I don't know of any full season. We've got 280s in full season that we haven't swallowed, but it's not because they're good, it's because we haven't gotten there. They got a pretty good window. I can stay on it. Well, I suppose keep breaking. Let you go. Talk to you guys later.